today's challenge is to do something about this poor, abused hood. I don't know how well that shows up on video, but this hood has been through some stuff. I've pushed it out so that it wasn't quite as obvious as when I bought it, but certainly got to do something. So I just heard there were a couple white Coopers that just showed up at the local boneyard, so I'm gonna go check it out. Okay, it was a little bit of a drive, but I'm here in Mini Central in Phoenix. It's a junkyard that happened to have two fresh arrivals. I was able to find a hood. It's an S hood minus the scoop, but it's the right color and it's straight, which is something my old one isn't. So I'm stealing this. And after just a few minutes cleaning it up, I'm pretty pleased. It probably would be a good idea to take some cleaning supplies to the junkyard to make sure you're not taking a dented, nasty hood. I could tell this one's in pretty good shape. It's clearly much better than the old one. So let's go ahead and get that fancy chrome hood scoop on this thing. You're going to find that the scoops come without the necessary pins. From what I've seen, I don't think you'll ever be able to get these things out intact. And for what it's worth, folks, I went ahead and got the real ones. They really weren't that much more expensive than knockoffs, and hey, if anything's going to fit, it's going to be these. So let me get them installed in the scoop and see how it goes. And you want to slide them in so that they're on the top slot. The top slot is what goes inside of this notch here. So they're tight, which I would kind of expect. Might need some sort of tool to get them in, or not, depending on what kind of scoop you get. This one is far aftermarket, so who knows. All right, they do slide in, so just go ahead, and there's 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6, which are these two, and these two. So let me get them placed. Okay, if they're exceptionally tight, you might give them a little bit of a squeeze with a pair of pliers to get them the rest of the way in. But be careful, the pins are expensive, so you don't want to have to order a second set. Okay, next step is to carefully fit. Make sure your pins are all lining up. This one looks a little short. Let me check the position on that. Go around, make sure they're all lined up center to center so that the pin is kind of centered in the hole. All right, and again, let me check this one. It looks, you can see it looks like it's just a little bit inboard, so let me make sure it's pushed all the way out. Okay, first thing we're going to do is remove this the nut that holds down this ground strap. And folks, don't underestimate just how important this ground strap is. I know it seems like it ought to be the hood should be good and grounded through the hinges and everything else. But I used to be in the radio business, folks, and I got to tell you that there's a lot of electronics under the hood. There's a lot of electric noise under there. And if the hood is not properly grounded, a lot more of it can get out. So we've got that loose. I'm going to put the nut down here where I can't lose it with the wrench I'll need when I'm putting the new one on. Folks, next step is you get your tool, your ratchet, whatever. You want to take off these 12mm bolts holding on the hood and remove the lower one, but only loosen the top one. You'll notice if you look closely that the top one is not through a hole. It's actually, there's a slot there, so when we get both of these on each side loose, we'll be able to just lift the entire hood off without disconnecting it entirely first. Okay, the last step before we actually pull the hood off is going to be disconnect this line from the keepers here on the body that hold it in place, and you're going to want to disconnect it. There's actually a handy splice right here. Okay, it's a barb splice. It doesn't want to come off. So, all right, the hood is now well and truly loose. Should be able to just pull it up and out of away from the car. Okay, my junkyard hood still has the upper bolts installed, so I should be able to just drop it over the slots and the hinges and get it sitting there well enough to start bolting it down a little more snugly so that I can control it so it doesn't get away from me. So let me go hoist it into place. Wish me luck, folks. There's no particular order on how to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and get this hose put back in place so I don't forget it. And I'm going to go install the ground strap on the other side. Okay, we are hooked up other than getting the hood aligned. So let's start working on that. And for starting point, I'm just going to try to wiggle everything around to get the original paint marks to match up as close as possible. And see how that works out. And I'm not going to tighten it down very tight. I'm just going to go do the same on the other side. Okay, that's snug. Now I'm going to very carefully close the hood and see what kind of fit we've got. Alright, honestly folks, that was just as good as it needs to be. It just looks fine to me. So I'm going to tighten down both sides. And if you're ready for the big reveal, there we go. No dents, plus a cool hood scoop on a non-turbo Cooper. And the real eagle-eyed among you may have realized that this gap was a little narrower than that gap over there. That's easily corrected, folks. This is the adjuster right here. All you have to do is turn this up a little bit to get a little more. It keeps the hood up just a tiny bit higher. So let's go ahead and close it. And now that gap and that gap look pretty much identical. All right, that'll work. That's all it takes, folks. So we are aligned. The hood's not perfectly clean yet, but wow, what an improvement. I'm happy.